Hello everyone, thanks for being here today. My name is Nicolas Alech. I'm Product Manager of Testing in two SAP products, SAP Solution Manager and SAP Cloud ALM. I will tell you today a few words about the Tricentis and SAP partnership that was recently concluded, and I will also show you a demo of the integration between SAP Solution Manager and Tricentis Tosca. So here we go, the partnership overview and the test automation example. I'll move forward and start telling you a few words about our Tricentis partnership. What you see here is actually a representation of application lifecycle management in SAP. We have on the top part, design, build, test, and deploy, which are what we call the implementation side of application lifecycle management. And at the bottom, you will find detect, analyze, correct, and automate, which is what we call the operation side of application lifecycle management. And today I'm here to tell you more about the partnership that was concluded and which lies in the area of test management, which I am responsible for. So this partnership has three dimensions. The does it work, which is about test automation, does it scale, which is about scalability of your solutions, and the what to test, which is about the change impact analysis of your changes on your solutions. I will use this summary slide to explain to you what we have. First of all, what is really key to understand is that we are really broadening our offering, right? With this partnership, we're going to extend significantly what we provide to all our SAP Enterprise Support customers. Okay, this slide gives you a summary of what we provide to all our enterprise support customers. Everything which is below the line is actually what will be provided with any enterprise support contract that is owned by any customer. So what you see at the bottom is the SAP test management part, which is about test planning, test preparation, test orchestration. What sits on top of it is called Tricentis Test Automation for SAP. And this is a new offering that we have. And what is key for you to understand is that we will grant to all the enterprise support customers this automation piece free of charge. So it's a great offering that we bring to you. What does it contain? It contains test data, test case creation, and test case authoring, automated test case, of course, for all SAP UI technologies and for SAP APIs, right? We used to have products like CBTA, which would provide you automation capabilities, but these automations were restricted, right? Was not available for SuccessFactors or Ariba. Now, with this partnership, we extend this and we make automation of all SAP products now possible with Tricentis. On the API side, it was also something that we didn't have before and that now we bring to you as well. So it's a great offering. We're really extending our initial capabilities with this partnership. And this will be available with SAP Solution Manager around the middle of November and with SAP Cloud ALM in Q1 2021. This is still unfortunately subject to change, but that's our plan as of today. On top of the line, you will find now also the complementary offering, which is part of the SAP price list. You will find SAP Enterprise Continuous Testing by Tricentis, which is actually the full Tosca capabilities for those of you who know it. So it's automation for all UI technologies, right? Not restricted to SAP anymore, including 160 plus UI technologies. It also supports Microsoft Office automation, PDF, document validation capabilities. It provides you also service virtualization, and of course, the distributed execution engine from Tricentis. On top of that, we will find SAP Change Impact Analysis, which is a product that some of you might know as Live Compare, and which allows you to assess the impact of the changes that you do on your system so that you can really target your testing to all the objects, scenarios, processes which are the most at risk based on the changes that you perform on this system. And then on top of that, we find SAP Load Testing by Tricentis, which is a product called Flood. And this one is actually to allow you to assess the scalability of your solutions, right? Make sure that they can handle the load properly, make sure that all the extensions that we build will also be scalable. Right. So it's we bring to you a complete new offering, and we extend with the enterprise support contract the core automation capabilities that we had. Okay, so let me say a few words about what we're going to show to you now. I will go through a very, very simple yet interesting scenario. What we will do is that we will demonstrate the integration between SAP Solution Manager and SAP Enterprise Continuous Testing by Tricentis. It's going to be the same one for Tricentis Test Automation. And what I chose to do in this scenario was to automate SAP Cloud ALM, which is my other product. And we will automate with Solution Manager the testing of SAP Cloud ALM. One thing which is really important in this context is that SAP Cloud ALM is built on the latest SAP UI5 technologies, so it demonstrates to you fully the capabilities of Tricentis in automating the latest SAP UI5 products and SAP UI5 releases from SAP. And now it's time for the demo. Okay, now we're going to demonstrate live the integration between Solution Manager and Tricentis. Let's get going. We will start this demo in solution documentation from Solution Manager, and I have a process here which is called requirement management. Right, so this process will be where we're going to record our testing or create our testing. So we can see that we already have several automated test cases here, and you can see also that we have, most importantly, an executable. This is what we'll be using. Now I'll go for a right mouse click in the bottom part, and I'll go for new test cases and test configuration. We're going to create a new. All right, I received my pop-up when I can type in the name of my test case. The test tool is, we can see that we have several ones. I will use Tosca today. The test script, I can call it with the same name. In terms of version, don't need to change it. And you can see that in our case, that's a local object that I don't intend to transfer. There we go. Get some warning messages that we can ignore this. First thing that I need to do, I will check that the executable has been properly taken over from solution documentation, and I need to save my test configuration, and then I can kick off Tricentis test. So here we have con-object communication. SAP GUI will now start Tosca, so that's why I have a shortcut here prompting me to start SAP GUI, which will then in turn start Tosca. There are different ways of recording test cases. First one would be to use the record and replay functionality from Tosca Commander, so that even business users could record the single process flow by just interacting with their screens, and the tool would record that. Or the advanced way would be to go via the scanning of applications and then assembling modules. Excuse me. There is something very important for you to know is that Tricentis relies on the creation of modules in order to automate the screens. And the modules are reusable components which aim at lowering the maintenance effort of your test cases. If, for instance, something changes, one element of the screen changes, you would just have to update the module which represents this element, and then this module changes will be propagated to all the test cases which use that, making the maintenance effort as low as possible. We can see here that we have a message popping up. It informs us that Tosca was starting remote control from Solution Manager. When we're done with our activities, we should do a resume remote control so that we send the information back to Solution Manager. All right, we can see that my test case has been created here. For today, we don't have time to record a full test case, so I will just take the existing test case from the top and then push the control key and put everything in my new test case. Oh, I made a mistake. The logon has been removed or forgotten, and I will just drag it again in here. Okay, and logon needs to go, of course, at the top. All right, one of the great functionalities of Tosca is that you can execute everything very quickly. I'm going to run that in what is called a Scratchbook, and let's see how it proceeds. Here we go. So now we're going to log on into SAP Cloud ALM. This is the launchpad. We will go into the processes to actually create what is called a scope in Cloud ALM. All right, we don't have anything for the time being, so we're going to create a new scope. Add TechEd scope 6. Now that we have a scope, we're going to add a few, or at least one business process to the scope. We go for BD9, and we select region France. Here we go, and now we are done with it. What we will do now is that we will navigate to the process itself, and here this is a best practice content which is provided by SAP, and we find BD9 right here. And we're going to create a requirement for this process. And now the automation is taking over, and we'll just go through the demo very quickly. Right, so we're going to pick the category analytics for this requirement. We're going to enter a short text, save it, and then proceed. In Cloud LM, once you've created a requirement, you will make a task out of that if you want to work on it. So we'll now go back into the requirements that we've just created and actually turn this requirement first with filter on our scope and our business process to be sure that we're dealing with the right requirement. And we're going to change its follow-up type to task, right? And changing that to task allows us to later on generate the task that will be used for the project work. Now we selected the generate task button is available. We generate the task. And here we go. All right. In order for us to do a self-contained scenario, we're going to clean up. So now we'll go ahead, delete the scope. It was very fast. I hope you could see it. And save our changes, and we'll be done. And this is the end of our recording. We can see that everything is green. It works as expected. You can get the details of the execution in the Scratchbook and take a look at the different things which took place. Now that I'm happy with my test case, as indicated, I will stop the remote control. So I will go into the project, right mouse click, and say resume remote control. Save and go to Solution Manager. Yes, this is what we want to do. Okay, it's finished. I can now close Tricentis Tosca and go back to Solution Manager. This is done. I can close my test configuration, and you will see that now it will appear in here that TechEd test was assigned to the solution. Now, what I suggest is that we should actually execute the test from Solution Manager so that you get an idea how it works. I'm just going to go into the test configuration. I'm going to refresh the list so that the test case appears. All right. I need also to refresh down here. Sorry about that. And we see the last one set TechEd. So I'm going to execute it. I select it. And I'm going to execute it without start options. The start options could be, for instance, the T-bar recording. Okay, and we get going. I have once again going to let Tosca take over. And from now on, I mean, my hands are away from my keyboard and my mouse, and you will see that the execution takes place. For the execution to take place and the result to be recording, Tricentis Tosca is going to create what is called an execution list. And the execution list will be the entity which contains the result. So license check again, Tosca is opening, our workspace will be opened. All right. And again here, I'm totally not touching my mouse, I'm letting things go. So we will see now that an execution list will be created. Here we go. The new one, which will contain only our Z TechEd 001 script. And now it will be executed again in Chrome. Of course, Tricentis Tosca has a functionality to do remote execution, but I thought it would be good to show you the execution during this live demo. So this is initializing, and we're going now to get the launchpad again. All right. And now you know the scenario, not touching my mouse, it will go into the processes and actually perform the scoping. Right, again, now we're going to select our scenario, BD9, our business process, sorry, BD9 for France. We're done, and we generate everything that we need. Business process selected, we create a requirement. We select the category analytics. Go. Enter description. Then we can save. This time we go to the requirement. By now you know the scenario, but I need to let it go, right, so that it can actually nicely complete. I don't want to have a red result for this demo. All right, we're going to change the task type, the requirement type, sorry, to task, so that the task can be generated. Go, close, and now select our requirement, and we're going to generate the task. By the way, this is one of the regression tests that we use internally to actually validate our solution as well. Here we go, and now we delete the scope, we clean up, and we finish our scenario. And we're done. Our scenario is successful. Our execution is done. Now I can, touch my mouse again, switch back to Tosca, and we can see that now we get the results. Please view log details to resume for remote control. We'll have to send this information back to Solution Manager. There we go. So all is good. I mean, we can now go into the details and see what happened. So nothing special here, or nothing that we need to check. And now I'm going to, as indicated, resume remote control and send information back to Solution Manager. We can see that here in SAP GUI, we received a log object 16208. And the last thing that we're going to do in this demo is go back to our automated test results and provide log ID 16208. Go. And we can see that we get into Solution Manager the test execution successful. All right. Thank you very much for your attention. And this is where I will end this live demo. Thank you. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed the demo. And let me stress again the key points here. We use the integration with Solution Manager to trigger the automation in Tricentis. And the key takeaway from that is that we can automate with Tricentis all the latest innovations from SAP. So I hope that you enjoyed this session. Please do not miss on the Learning Hub, activate your free access, subscribe to it, and make the most out of it. There's amazing content in here that will bring you tons of knowledge, expert knowledge, and I hope that you also enjoy the TechEd and that you enjoyed the session. Thank you very much for your attention, and be safe.